You build me up like building blocks just so you can break me down. You try to explain, but before you can start, those crybaby tears come out of the dark.
I wish I found some better sounds no one's ever heard. I wish I had a better voice that sang some better words. I wish I found some chords in an order that is new. I wish I didn't have to rhyme every time I sang. Don't make me sad. You don't know the half of me.
I'm not a little kid now.
Hello everyone, Jason and Leia back here again, and today we'll be doing a spoiler review for Venom. I decided to go watch this movie again, and I have to say, it's a bit better the second time around. And I think that has to do mostly with the relationship between Eddie Brock and Venom, and how good it was and how well portrayed it was in the movie. Yeah, without Spider-Man, yeah, but in a way, I think they found a way to make it work well enough to understand that these two characters are really bonded and that they really are connected to each other, and the more they spend screen time with each other, get that sense of we are Venom. So I love that about the movie, and I think Tom Hardy did a great job still. I think he was good for what he was given. There are still some script issues, I have to say. There are certain scripts, like A Turd in the Wind, that did not work. So we start with the movie with Eddie Brock as a news reporter, and he has his own sort of internet personality show where he goes to different places and does news. When he gets a chance to interview Carlton Drake, and he doesn't want to be like that guy where he just answers questions on the paper. He wants to talk about the allegations against him, because there's a spaceship in the opening scene in the movie that had people die from the symbiotes. And Eddie Brock wanted to know what was going on and what are these allegations for. And he lost his job, he lost his girlfriend 6 months later. Carlton Drake is still on the process of bringing these symbiotes and trying to find out what they are. He's putting them in a lab, testing on people. And Eddie Brock, like in the trailers that he's seen, is a pretty broken man at this point on, and is trying to bring his life together. And once he received a visit from an employee from the Life Foundation, they go on a little investigation inside the facility to find out what's going on. And little do you know, well, you see in the trailers, the Venom symbiote attaches to Eddie Brock. Throughout the film also, we get another symbiote, which is going to people to try to find the right host. And it will lead up to Carlton Drake, who becomes a Riot. The lady, that symbiote, is a Riot. Always have been. I thought it was going to be Scream or something, but it is just a symbiote trying to pass by one human. I think that was an interesting take on how to build up that symbiote, and you can see what it can do with the certain amount of people it's able to take over. And while the Ride symbiote is pretty cool, the actual villain Carlton Drake is just bland. He wants to bring human evolution up, but it's not clear enough. He's not like the worst villain ever, but the movie could have done so much more with him. I think it's because it really bad script still. And once Eddie does become Venom, the movie gets pretty awesome. And you do see how Venom is starting to infect him, and how he's being called a parasite, which he does not like being called. You see Eddie eating trash leftovers, throwing up in the tub. And it's just the really bizarre scenes that I think kind of made the tone kind of inconsistent in some ways. But in the second time watching it, I think it's also because the pacing got a little better for me. The humor kind of worked a little bit more better for me in a way also. And I think that will help me bump my enjoyment of this movie. And, and so we get to see Eddie Brock and the Venom symbiote come together. And while Eddie is still trying to bring his life together with his girlfriend Anne, who is now living with another boyfriend, the Venom symbiote is being hunted down by Carlton Drake, and so Eddie Brock and Venom are on the run, and you get this really cool motorcycle chase sequence where Venom and Eddie Brock are trying to avoid all these drones coming out of them, and all these soldiers the Life Foundation sent to kill them. And it was all well directed. I thought it was all well done. And once, as you saw in the trailers, when Venom forms into the first time, it was amazing. And you actually do get to see Venom bite a head off. And yes, it is PG-13, but it's still pretty brutal for a PG-13 movie. And I think that's what I like about this movie, is that it is also pretty brutal at times. It doesn't show blood, but it does show you what this creature could really do, and you can really sense the pain in these people. And that's what I love about the action, is how brutal it was for a PG-13 movie. And that Eddie Brock now decided to go to his old job to hopefully get the proof that he got from the Life Foundation in. And it also leads up to a really cool scene where Venom and Eddie Brock are fighting these soldiers that are sent after them. And once Eddie Brock and Venom start to realize that they have different intentions for one another, and how Venom sort of had a plan to take over the world, Eddie Brock just rejected him and just left him. And so you kind of get this moment where Eddie Brock is sort of done with everything, and that he doesn't mind being killed now that he's captured by the Life Foundation. You sort of see his vulnerable side also, that no matter what, he's going to end up being a broken man. And so once Venom decides to really explain what his intentions were and how he wanted to take over this planet because he was a loser in his old one, like Eddie was in here, he wants to stay here just alone so he can feel above everybody else. And so that's how Eddie Brock and Venom decide to go stop Riot and Carlton Drake, who have now at this point formed a bond together to bring in more of the symbiotes to Earth, and they had to stop it. And we get this cool scene with the in the Life Foundation spaceship where Venom and Riot are battling, and it reminded me almost like of a comic book, but better interpreted on screen. I thought it was extremely exciting, and I can't say this more enough. The action here is so well directed, and most of it in the middle of the movie felt inspired by movies like John Wick or The Dark Knight in many ways. It was just brutal action and no shaky cam whatsoever. The camera panned beautifully towards every shot, and it was just amazing. I loved it. And so once Venom stops Riot, and we get our closing scene where Venom's... So why do you have to spoil the last part of the movie in your trailers? They show that scene where Venom stops that crook and bites his head off. And that's it. The movie ends. You have to show the last parts of your movies in every trailer, don't you, Sony? But anyway, what can you take from this? Oh yeah, Venom also took over Eddie's girlfriend, and she becomes She-Venom for a while, and kisses Tom Hardy while she's in symbiote form. That was a weird scene. The movie's not that bad. It's weird, it's inconsistent. It has script issues and stuff like that still, but I think it's because its pacing is just brisk and the tone is really just not that serious, and Tom Hardy does a great job in his performance, and the relationship between Venom and the symbiote in the action scenes, and surprisingly the visual effects still are good. I still think this movie is going to be dated in a while because it felt like a movie that could be released around the early 2000s, and I can understand why some people may not like it in that way because it felt like it could be dated, but in my opinion, it's not that bad. But I can understand why some people might not like it. I'm gonna boost my grade up to a B minus. It is not great. It is not that bad. It is okay, and it's better the second time around. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.